Hello, I'm Jonathan Cameron, and I want to introduce you to version 1.4 of the attachments extension for Joomla, which I plan to release in April of 2010. The purpose of the attachments extension is to allow you to attach files to Joomla articles and other types of content. First, let's install it. Let's go over to the administrative page and find the installer. Although the attachments extension includes a component and a bunch of plugins, I've implemented a multi-installer that installs everything for you all at once. You can download the attachments installation file from the Joomla code website, which you can find through the extensions area on the joomla.org website. So let's open this up, and there's our file. It's 1.3.9. When it's released, it'll be 1.4. And we'll install it. Takes a minute because it's installing a bunch of stuff. So there it is, successful. And you'll notice here that it's installed all the necessary plugins, and they're enabled and pretty much ready to go. Once the attachments extension is installed, you can add attachments on the front end or in the administrative back end. Let's start on the front end. Now you'll notice it needs refreshing, so we'll do that. If you're logged into the front page, as I am here, you'll see a red attachments link below each article that you have permissions to modify. Let's add an attachment to this article. Okay, we'll browse for the file to add, and we'll add this this Upreco image. Okay, it says it uploaded it, but why don't we see it? Well, the reason is that the default settings require that new attachments be approved by an administrator before they're published. So let's go to the back end and do that. We'll go to the attachments area under the components menu. And before I publish it, just let me point out a few things. This has some of the typical controls of components, publishing and unpublishing items, editing, creating new attachments, deleting attachments, parameters, setting configuration parameters for the attachments, utility functions, and a help. Don't forget that there's a help page here on the right. Okay, so let's publish it. So we'll click on the button here to publish it. All right, now let's go to the front end and refresh the page. Now you can see the attachment. And if you click on it, it'll download it. This is the chapel at Upreco, a university in Central Congo. You can visit upreco.org if you want to find out more about it. So let's go back. Okay. You can edit the attachment by clicking on the edit item here, which looks like a little pencil. So you can update the file, and you can set the how you want the file name displayed. So we'll do that. And the chapel. Okay, so we've changed how the link appears here, even though the file name, as you'll notice at the bottom of the screen there, your file name hasn't changed. It's just how it appears on the front page here has changed, and the description's there now. And you can also delete it by clicking on the red X over here, although I won't do that right now. Okay, let's go to the back end and see how it works. We'll start by changing the options to allow attachments to be published automatically. I don't recommend this as a system policy, but it makes these demonstrations simpler. So we'll say the attachments will be published by default. We'll say yes, and we have a good bit more control now over who can see attachments, a little bit more, and who can add attachments. So we'll save that. By the way, any of these items, there's usually some tooltip help if you hover over the label on the left that has a description for these items, so I encourage you to use those and remember that they're there. Now let's add another attachment using the new button here. Okay, we're in the back end as an administrator, so we can add attachments to anything. So let's add it to this welcome article. And we're going to pick a file here. And I'm not going to, we could change these other settings, but I'm just going to leave them alone. And you'll see we have now 2 attachments, and if you go to the front page, there you go. You can also change the appearance by showing titles, which I like. So if I refresh now, I think the display looks a little nicer. You can also add attachments by to existing articles that already have attachments by clicking on this red attachments add attachment link, sort of like the one that's on the front. Just makes things a little bit simpler. And you can add attachments to articles when you edit them. Let me show you that. So we'll edit the welcome article. Now, as we go down here, you'll notice that there's a list of the attachments. Now, and you can also add attachments using this button down here. So we'll pick something to add, upgrade, and upload. Unfortunately, this listing doesn't get updated, but it did take, and I'll show you. So if we exit here, go back to our attachments list, you'll see it's up there. It's there. Upgrade has been added. You can sort the attachments in the back end here by any of the headers here. So you can look at the list in terms of file size, largest to smallest, or vice versa. And you can reset the order using this reset order button. And you can filter as well, and if you want to undo the filtering that you're doing, you can press this reset button here. And also there's some settings over here that allow you to limit what's displayed to articles or other types of content parents that are all published or unpublished, or just all of them. And you can limit them by the type of things that they're attached to. And let's take a quick look at the help page here. This has a fairly extensive help page for the attachments extension. It includes descriptions of all of the options, including some extra detail. It includes some restrictions on how the attachments uploading works, and it tells you a little bit about some of the new things that files can be attached to, including sections and categories and so forth. And at the very end of the file, you'll find my email address, so you can access it there. So there's other things that are new in this version, and I'll just kind of list them for you. There's the easy single-step installer, which I showed you earlier. You can attach files while creating an article. That's a new change in version 1.4. And you can attach URLs as well as files. The new attachments plugin framework makes it possible to attach files to more types of content items than articles. And in fact, out of the box, you can attach files to sections and categories, but you can certainly imagine creating a new attachment plugin that allows you to attach files to things like calendar events or personal pages, things like that. You can also add attachments, display the attachments anywhere in an article using a certain little token. And I think I've shown you some of the back-end usability improvements. And the files are now saved with the original file names using numbered subdirectories, so that prefixes have been eliminated. Don't forget that there's help and frequently asked questions available for on the Joomla Code website, and you can get to those pages through the Joomla extension page for the attachments extension. So thank you for watching this screencast. I hope this new version of the attachments extension will be helpful for you. I'm Jonathan Cameron. If you want to contact me, my email is jmcameron@jmcameron.net. Thanks.